This bed used to be our sanctuary. Now it's my prison. 4 months ago, I was the girl who couldn't sleep without someone next to me. Tonight, I'm lying here in complete darkness, wondering if I'll ever feel warm again. The coldest part isn't the empty space beside me. It's knowing that while I'm here missing him, he's probably sleeping peacefully in someone else's arms. I used to think heartbreak was dramatic, something that happened in movies. I was wrong. Heartbreak is quiet. It's waking up every single morning to sheets that smell like nothing. It's reaching across a mattress that feels infinite. This is what happens when the person you trusted with your whole heart decides you're not worth keeping. If you've ever wondered what it feels like when your safe space becomes your biggest reminder of loss, this is my story. We started as friends. That's what made everything feel so real. He wasn't trying to impress me. I wasn't trying to be perfect. We just fit. Like puzzle pieces that had been looking for each other without knowing it. Our first night together wasn't planned. We fell asleep watching movies on his couch. I woke up with his arm around me and thought, this is what peace feels like. He had this habit of pulling me closer in his sleep. Even when we were already touching, he'd find a way to get closer. My human heater, he'd call me in the mornings. I loved being needed like that, being wanted, being chosen. We moved in together after 8 months. Fast, everyone said. But when you know, you know. At least, that's what I thought. Our bedroom became our world. We'd spend entire Saturdays in bed, talking about everything, our childhoods, our fears, our dreams for the future. He told me he'd never felt safe with anyone before me. You make me believe in forever, he said one night, tracing circles on my back. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life. I believed him. God, I believed every word. He had this thing where he'd make sure I was completely covered before he'd let himself fall asleep. Can't have you getting cold, he'd whisper, tucking the blankets around me like I was something precious. Those nights felt infinite. Perfect. Like we'd found something most people spend their whole lives searching for. But perfection is fragile, and I was too happy to see the cracks forming. It started with his phone. He used to leave it anywhere. Counters. Couch cushions, our nightstand. Suddenly it was always in his pocket, always face down, always protected. Who keeps texting you so late? I asked one night when it buzzed for the 5th time after midnight. Just work stuff, he said, but his voice was different, guarded. Then came the distance in bed. The man who used to pull me closer started sleeping on the very edge of his side. When I'd try to cuddle, he'd mumble something about being too hot. Too hot. In November. Our conversations became surface level. How was work? What's for dinner? Did you pay the electric bill? Nothing real. Nothing that mattered. I felt like I was losing him in slow motion. Like watching someone drown and not knowing how to save them. He started working late. A lot. Weekends too. Big project, he'd explain. But when I brought him dinner at his office one evening, his coworkers said he'd left hours ago. The lies started small. Where he'd been. Who he was with. What he'd done during his day. Little lies that didn't seem to matter until they built a wall between us. Sex stopped completely. I'm exhausted, became his excuse for everything. Too tired to touch me, too tired to talk, too tired to care that I was dying inside. I started analyzing every word he said, every expression, every pause, looking for clues about what I'd done wrong, how I could fix us. But you can't fix something that's being broken on purpose. The worst part was how he made me feel crazy for noticing. You're being paranoid, he'd say. Everything's fine. But his eyes never looked at me anymore. I knew something was ending, but I was too terrified to face what it might be. The night I found the receipt in his jacket pocket, that's when my world started crumbling. But what that receipt revealed about our entire relationship, that was nothing compared to what came next. Dinner for two. At a restaurant across town. On a night he told me he was working late. I sat on our bed staring at that receipt, my hands shaking. Part of me wanted to pretend I never found it. To go back to living in denial where at least I still had hope. But I couldn't unknow what I knew. He came home around 11. Shower first, like always now. Then straight to bed without really looking at me. "How was work?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "Long, boring, same as usual." I held up the receipt. The color drained from his face. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence felt like it lasted hours. "It's not what you think," he finally said. "What is it then?" Another pause. Too long. She's just a friend, a coworker. We were discussing the project." He said she without me asking. "Discussing the project requires you to lie to me?" "I didn't lie. I knew you'd get the wrong idea." "What's the right idea? Help me understand." He couldn't. Because there was no right idea. There was only the truth he was too cowardly to tell me. I think we need some space," he said, looking at the floor. Space. The word that means everything is over, but you're too much of a coward to say it directly. "How much space?" "I don't know. I'm confused. I need time to figure things out." "Figure out what? Whether you want to be with me or her?" The look on his face was my answer. "This isn't about her," he lied. "Don't. Please don't lie to me anymore. I can't take it." He packed a bag that night, said he'd stay at his friend's place for a while. Give us both time to think. But I knew. When someone wants space from you, they've already made their choice. The door closed behind him at 2 a.m. I sat in our bed listening to his car drive away, knowing he wasn't coming back. That was the first night I slept alone in our bed. The beginning of my new reality. But what I discovered about their relationship the next day, that's when heartbreak became something much darker. He left his laptop. I wasn't planning to look. I respected his privacy for 3 years. But grief makes you desperate for answers. His social media was still logged in. Messages going back months, pictures, plans, conversations about me, about us, about how unhappy he was. She worked with him, had been working with him for over a year. But their messages showed something that started as friendship had become something else months ago. While he was telling me he loved me, he was telling her about his feelings for her. While he was sleeping next to me, he was planning dates with her. While I was dreaming about our future, he was figuring out how to leave me for her. The betrayal cut deeper than the abandonment. At least if he'd just fallen out of love with me, our relationship would have been real once. But this meant everything had been a lie. I spent days reading through their conversations, torturing myself with details I didn't need to know. She knew about me. She knew he was living with me. She didn't care. Neither did he. The apartment felt haunted. His coffee cup still in the sink. His pillows still smelling like his shampoo. His side of the closet empty, but somehow still taking up space. I'd wake up every morning forgetting for just a moment. My hand would reach across the mattress, expecting to find warmth. Instead, I'd find cold sheets and reality crashing back in. The bed became my enemy. Too big, too empty, too quiet. I started sleeping on the couch. The bed felt like a crime scene, a place where I'd been murdered slowly over months without even knowing it. Friends told me I was better off without him. that he did me a favor by showing his true colors. But when you love someone, their true colors don't matter. You just want them back, even if they're awful. The silence in our apartment was suffocating. No more of his laughter from the kitchen. No more of his voice calling my name. No more of anything that made this place feel like home. Just me, and the echo of what we used to be. Grocery shopping became torture. I'd automatically pick up his favorite cereal, his preferred brand of coffee, the beer he liked. Muscle memory doesn't understand breakups. I'd come home and set 2 plates out of habit. Make enough dinner for 2. Leave the TV on the sports channel he preferred. Healing isn't linear. Some days I felt strong, angry, ready to move on. Other days I'd find one of his socks behind the dryer and cry for hours. But the nights were the worst. Climbing into that queen-size bed alone, pulling covers over one body when they used to cover 2, staring at his side of the mattress like it might magically fill itself. The cold became everything, not just temperature, but emptiness, loneliness, the absence of love. And then, 6 weeks after he left, I saw them together. They were at the grocery store, the same one we used to shop at together, holding hands, laughing, looking at each other the way he used to look at me. She was beautiful, younger than me, brighter somehow. Everything I suddenly felt I wasn't. I hid behind the cereal aisle like a coward, watching them buy groceries for their new life together. The life he chose over ours. He looked happy. Happier than I'd seen him in months when he was with me. That's what broke me more than anything else. It wasn't that he couldn't be happy. It was that he couldn't be happy with me. I drove home and climbed into our bed. My bed. And finally understood what rock bottom felt like. But here's what I learned during those months of sleeping alone in sheets that never got warm. The cold bed isn't punishment, it's education. It teaches you that some people can share your bed, your life, your dreams, and still keep their heart locked away. That you can love someone completely and still not be enough for them. It teaches you that loyalty isn't automatic, that promises can be broken, that forever is sometimes just a word people use when they don't know how to say goodbye. But most importantly, it teaches you that you can survive anything, even the coldest nights, even the emptiest mornings, even the silence that feels like it might swallow you whole. I still sleep alone. The bed is still cold. But now I understand something I didn't before. I wasn't losing someone who loved me. I was losing someone who was pretending to love me while falling in love with someone else. And maybe that's not loss. Maybe that's liberation. The coldest bed in the world taught me that I deserve more than being someone's backup plan, more than being kept around until something better comes along. I am not the girl who settles for scraps of attention anymore. I am not the girl who begs to be chosen. I am the girl who survived having her heart ripped out and is still here to tell the story. He may have left me with the coldest bed in the world, but he also left me with the strongest version of myself I've ever been. And someday, when I'm ready, this bed will be warm again, but only for someone who deserves to be in it.